My name is Sergeant Major Lisa Walker, and I am an instructor for the Department of Army Operations here at the Sergeant's Major Academy. Today, I'm going to be giving you an overview of IPOE, Information Preparation of the Operational Environment, otherwise known as IPB. So where does IPOE start at? It starts at MDMP in step 2 of mission analysis. This is really where staff planners take a look at the battlefield to help visualize the battlefield across time and space. Normally, the G2 or S2 will be the lead element in this. However, all staff are incorporated into IPOE. IPOE has 4 steps. The first step is to define the operating environment. Here in this step, what we're really looking for is to define the commander's area of operations and interest. The next step is to describe the environmental effects on operations. Here, what we're doing is we're really taking a look at how the weather and the terrain affects our operations. Not only our operations, but potentially the threats as well. A key output of this step is the MCOO, the Modified Combined Obstacle Overlay, which really will help us to see what that terrain will look like on the battlefield. The third step here is to evaluate the threats. What we're looking at here is to determine how does the enemy fight? What are their capabilities? What is their doctrine? What is their TTPs? Better understanding how the enemy fights is going to help us to better plan how we are going to fight them. And now when you put all these puzzle pieces together, that comes to the very last step of IPOE. The last step of IPOE is here is to determine threat courses of action. In this step, one of the key things that we're going to do is to take all this information and determine what is the most likely thing that the enemy is going to do. So to determine their most likely course of action. Secondly, we're going to look at what do we think the enemy would do, their most dangerous course of action. We're going to pull all those things together as well as all the puzzle pieces to help us have a clear understanding of the OE and also to help us develop our courses of action. Now, IPOE is a continual process. As you can see on the board, it's sequential in steps. But when you put them all together, that's what really is going to help us to visualize the battle space. Now, sometimes, and most of the times, we're going to come back and we're going to update information. We may get some new information about the effects or even the threats of the enemy, and that's going to help us further develop our planning. Now, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's some key points here about IPOE. First, understanding it's systematic. It's an ongoing process, and the whole key of IPOE is to help not only the commander, but the staff visualize the battle space across time and space. Secondly, IPOE sits as step 2 of MDMP. That's where we first see it at. And each step, it's going to build on the other to help the planning process. A way to think of IPOE is thinking of it as a map. Before you go on any type of event or road trip, you're going to pull out a map. You're going to look at where you're going. You're going to look at what are the obstacles. Really, that's what IPOE does for us. It's the roadmap to our planning. Next, we talk about assumptions versus analysis. So a lot of the times, staff planners may get a mission and jump right to developing COAs. Well, those COAs would be developed off of assumptions versus analysis. So IPOE is that analysis for us to really look at the operating environment to make a better informed COA. And this again is a living process. It's continuously updated throughout the whole MDMP process. And it directly supports developing our COAs. So whether you're a G2, S3, a senior enlisted advisor, it's really important that you can take the analytics that we have here in the IPOE and put them into action. Thank you for your time.